Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! This podcast proudly presents to you the zero-time tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg, JJ Brownlee, the Badass, JB Faulkner, Total Spotfest Live, with the ninth wonder of the world, Nick.
And welcome everybody to Total Spotfest Live. I am JJ Brownlee, and with me, as always, is my esteemed colleague, Jamie Faulkner.
What's up, everybody?
And we, of course, are graced by the one, the only, the ninth wonder of the world, Nick.
Hey, what's going on?
Just that guy. So we want to thank you guys for joining us here. This is going to be the first in a series of many. We are three friends who have worked together and talked about wrestling in all of our free time for, many years. So decided to bring it online. We're going to give you our honest take and opinion and view of current state of wrestling as it's happening. So we're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about NXT. We're going to talk about WWE, which is going to drive Jamie crazy because he loves him some WWE.
Yeah, it's Bruce Pritchard's life, and I'm just saying.
And we're going to go outside the traditional too. We're going to talk about New Japan. We're going to talk about Impact a little. We're going to talk about other indie scenes and different promotions that are out there, and we are based out of Kansas City is where we all live, Kansas City metropolitan area, and because of that we will talk about independent scene around us as we see it, as well as anything else that's out there. Internet's made independent scene a lot more accessible across the nation and across the world, so we are excited to get started, to start talking to you guys, to start really digging in deep and giving you our take on this whole wrestling commentary thing. So, how are you guys feeling? You guys ready to do this?
Let's jump right in.
I'm jazzed. I'm ready to go. I'm like,
We're
walk through the curtain.
Yeah, we're ready to go, and Nick just wants to dive in head first. Don't
Like
care.
Titus. Like Titus headed into the Rumble, Saudi Arabia style.
That's a fantastic segue because this is actually our first show. We're taking place right after the Royal Rumble, so we're gonna basically, you'll see our rhythm as we go along here, people. But we're gonna more or less, one of us is gonna lead the discussion and then commentary and conversation amongst that particular show or topic by all three. But Royal Rumble is the first to go, and Jamie's actually going to be the one who's going to start talking about that.
Yeah, as much as I do love WWE right now, it is a great and a magical pay-per-view in the Royal Rumble. I absolutely love the Rumble. This one, honestly, did not disappoint on some of the matches, and some of the matches were total duds. But you know what?
It's still the Rumble, I mean, at the end of the day.
It is. And the thing was, like, there wasn't as many surprises on the men's side, which we'll get into. But I think overall, it was a good show. I was very pleased with it. It's one of the better ones I've seen in a while. Definitely since they've been in the COVID world of no fans, really, in the Thunderdome. So, yeah.
I mean, this is definitely the first. This is definitely the pay-per-view that's affected, I think, the most by COVID.
Yeah, because you don't get the pop. Like, that's the thing. Like, last year, Edge got the huge pop. And Edge coming out first on this one because there was no pop.
No pop.
I wasn't feeling it this year as much as I felt it other years. But it was still good. It was still good. So
no countdown. The countdowns either. I mean, yeah.
Ninth Wonder, what do you think of it?
Well, I have to agree with everything you said. I will say this for WWE in these pandemic times. I love the setup with the pseudo crowd with all the screens. It does help. It's not the same. You definitely do not get the pop, but it's as good as it's gonna get.
That is the award-winning Thunderdome. You mean?
The only thing about the Thunderdome I really wish is, like, whenever two wrestlers get in there, you get the 2 men enter, 1 man leave, 2 men enter, 1 man leave. But you don't get it. Like, I think that would be like the perfect chant by the fake crowd that they could do.
Well, the chants are fake. The chants are piped in too. That's not the actual people.
No, yeah. That this is awesome. I was like, that was patchwork. That was not real.
Yeah, it's like when John Cena comes out.
You are correct.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and dive right into the Royal Rumble. So let's go ahead and talk about that first match, the pre-show match, technically, which was the women's tag team titles of Asuka and Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Yeah. Talk about starting with the dud.
You know what? I totally bypassed it. I was late.
I was too, and
lucky.
I'm not regretful.
So, I mean, it's just quick synopsis. Nia Jax looked like a drunken idiot roaming all over the ring like she usually does. Couple bad spots with her, per usual, but then you had Charlotte on the other side, who's typically like that as well. It was just a back and forth, just not even good. They wasted Asuka. Shayna and Nia ended up winning the match because Lacey Evans and her new main squeeze, Mr. Ric Flair, come out and they mess with Charlotte. Ric Flair gives a fist pack to Lacey Evans. I'm not making this up. And she punches Charlotte in the face while she's doing a figure 8 on Shayna. Like, okay, get it. Like, that is the dumbest damn thing.
I mean, they've already done the Rick turns on his daughter angle like 6 years ago. At this point, it's sad more than anything else. I don't even understand. I'm sorry. It's just the whole thing just pisses me off. I don't even know what to think about this. It's like, come on, Rick. What the hell, man? Nick,
well,
talk.
So like I've been on a trial separation from WWE ever since AEW came on the scene. We're not fully divorced, but they're definitely living elsewhere. And correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, but isn't that kind of what Lacey Evans has always done? Is she just kind of interrupts stuff that's already going on, ruins it, and then just kind of saunters off? Have they done anything else creatively with her, or is that it?
No, that's her character, but that's not the part that gets me hot. It's the whole Ric Flair thing, because Ric Flair is the one who's basically instigating all this. Like he's being wooed by some siren on the Rock in Greece, It's like, come on, Rick. I
mean, he's the poster boy for Viagra right now.
Yeah.
Like, dude, okay, so this fucking guy, I'm just gonna call it out. Like, you're trying to make Rick look like an old pervert, which back in the day he was a limousine riding, jet flying guy, but now he looks like an old pervert, getting himself a young one, and to, besmirch his daughter or whatever. It's just so frustrating. Like, he's not giving her a rub, like you'd
There's
want.
no
like,
end game. There's no end game for any of this.
It's just bad math, man. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah. So, okay.
Move the hell on. Seriously.
Yeah, we spent enough time on this one. Okay, so the first match of the night, which was honestly a shocker, it was the first match, was Drew McIntyre versus the reigning, defending AARP champion and Goldberg.
Bill had to go to bed, man.
Goldberg.
That's why it was first.
Goldberg.
I mean, he looks like hell. I mean,
He
he's
did
still
not
jacked.
look good this time around.
He's still jacked, but he's not Goldberg anymore, man. Like, he's in his
dude,
50s, and yeah.
He's easily 30 pounds lighter than he was in, 2016, 2017 when he came back for the first time.
Yeah, like, I mean, his age is getting him. I mean, it was, I think if I timed it right, a 6-minute match, which is an all-time long for Goldberg since he's been back.
It's about right for considering what it should have been.
My big question on this, and JJ, I'm going to throw this over to you, is like, how in the hell did this help Drew McIntyre?
Oh, that's a very good question. There's actually a very simple answer to that. It
Well,
absolutely
he earned
did
his
not.
respect.
Well,
He got Goldberg's respect.
Well, I don't know if you guys catch this, because and those of you listening are going to find out. I still passively watch Raw and SmackDown because I don't have any children and I'm a sadist, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
I ride my bike every day after work indoors, and I got to have something on to watch while I'm riding it. So, boom, there you go. They had like this whole, as I was saying, so I still watch it. Jamie tries not to very hard, and as Nick said, he's on a trial separation. They got the better lawyer though, so it doesn't look good. So
yes.
so there's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be filling into this here, and one of the things is at the beginning of the year, the first Raw of the year was Legends Night. And all these legends back, and it's just it was stupid. They do it every year. Every year it just gets dumber. This year they basically had Randy Orton just going around beating up the old people verbally, which was entertaining because Randy can hold a mic, but sitting there like yelling and screaming at how terrible a person and how worthless piece of shit Mark Henry is as he's getting around with his like broken knee on the little like wheelie thing. It's like it's like, this is great for your ratings, Vince. But it was supposed to end with McIntyre coming out and talking shit as all the legends were like lined up on the ramp. They were all there to watch his match against, I don't even remember who the hell it was, but they were all lined up, sitting there in a gallery style on the ramp, which is, hey, that's great, in the times of COVID, have all the old people lined up shoulder to shoulder, in close proximity. And during that, him talking shit to all of them, Goldberg would then come down to the middle of the ring and put him in his place, and that was supposed to be the whole shtick. Now, they ran late, and McIntyre never got to, do that. And Goldberg just picked up where his line started, so he was talking about...
I gotta go watch it now.
It was actually funny if you don't think about how sad it was. That it's like, so it does absolutely nothing to answer your question for McIntyre. It's eyeballs for the pay-per-view, maybe.
I mean, Goldberg was a draw, and that's the thing. This is why I have pretty much am fully divorced. I appreciate your full your separation, but I am divorced from Raw and SmackDown because Vince is so fucking out of touch. Like, he just drives me nuts. And I'm sorry for the F-bombs, but I'm very passionate about this. Like, got him, bring him back 50-year-old guys to, to either bury or put over people. That's it. Like, when they brought back Lesnar, buried like 3 guys. Boom, 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 buried them. It's like, what does that do for your current roster? And then, like, okay, we're going to have Goldberg come back for a 5-minute match with a genetic freak who could probably do a 25-minute match with anybody, good on there that doesn't have to carry him through a match like Drew had to carry freaking Goldberg through that thing. It's just so annoying. Like, I appreciate the nostalgia, but, as much as we love the old days, like, we don't need to see the old dudes today. You know what I'm saying? Ugh.
I'm telling you, dude, I don't have anything. This is pure speculation, but I truly think that was just Vince's prime, was the Attitude Era, and he just likes to live there. And since he can pay for it, he just keeps going back.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the current roster get into like some Attitude style, but the current roster, not bringing back, Goldberg.
They keep teasing that they're going to. Apparently, USA Network and Fox have been like saying that they're fine going PG-13, that they would actually like it better because the ratings have been so shit. They would actually like it better if they were a little more adult oriented in their content. Not not Edge Live sex celebration necessarily, but something of that, which I'm getting to that later. But I think that at the end of the day, Vince is like, they have, and remember, throughout this whole discussion, last year WWE made more money than it's ever made ever in a year. Ever.
It's all overseas money.
Well, plus $1 billion from Fox. And then now with the WWE Network going to Peacock, which is where NXT is probably going to end up going, is to Peacock, because that's another $1 billion in Vince's pocket. In a way, what can you say? It's like they make all the money, so okay, do what you want.
He makes the money, but he's got a shit product. The only product that he's got that's worth a damn thing is NXT.
You're absolutely
NXT,
right.
Like they have so much talent on Raw and SmackDown, so much. Like, whatever happened to Ricochet? Was he even in the Rumble?
Well, you're getting ahead of yourself here, so let's get back on
Just
track.
for a minute.
Let's get back on track with
Well,
the
let me,
matches.
if I can piggyback on Jamie's point real quick, because I think this
Sure.
analogy will drive it home. WWE to me is the equivalent of McDonald's. It's there, it's convenient, it looks delicious, but then after you eat it, you just feel gross and guilty and lesser of a human being after having done so.
Well, fuck you. First of all, hey, they got spicy McNuggets now, so you can kiss my ass, Nick.
All right. Well, anyway, big shock. Drew McIntyre won that match.
Thank God.
No one saw that one coming. So then we actually get to a good match. You all know how I feel about this, but this was actually a good match. It's Sasha Banks versus Carmella. I actually enjoyed this match. Sasha always brings her A game. I mean, that's all there is to it. And Carmella was pretty damn good. And that Reginald dude, I'm really liking that guy.
Well, there's zero chance he's going to get a push of his own. He's never. Unless he
He's
gets
the new
in.
Virgil.
Well, he might get into Retribution one day, which
He took a hell of a kick from Tamina.
he did. Well, I will say that I like this Carmella better than her past iteration.
Oh, yeah. No, she's the best. Yeah, right now she's right where she needs to be.
Yeah, that fabulous thing was getting tired.
It was. It is also, though, a trope that Vince does go back to quite often. This glamorous, nose in the air, socialite, Upper East Side kind of, high roller. It is a rehash. I mean, it was Emma's character when they were rebranding her. It was however many women before her, but it does
And
fit Melina. It fits Carmella well.
Yeah, it really does.
The whole thing was, but to me, I wasn't as sold on this match. It was okay. I think that it was more of a stepping stone for Sasha than anything else, and because of that, I'm just like, man, I didn't really get too invested in it.
Technically, Carmella's a lot better than she used to be. And then when you cut away a little bit, if you dial down the Staten Island stuff a little bit, it helps. So they made good choices.
Yeah, and I will say this. I know it was 100% not intentional, but Carmella's suicide dive had the Lita factor to it.
Yeah.
Like the Lita Trish Stratus thing. Like, obviously, this feud is definitely not to that level by any stretch of the imagination, but like she almost scorpioned and everything just like her. Is like, geez, it made me. That was one of the highlights of it for me because it's like, oh my goodness, like I could just hear JR in my ear, like, she's broken in half.
My God, damn near broke her nose off. I can't even do it. I cannot do impressions for you guys listening. By the way.
Mamma mia!
Yeah. Oh, I miss him.
I miss Morrow.
I do too.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, guys.
Morrow.
Just forget I said it. I'm sorry.
No,
We were
no,
doing
it's
so
fine.
well.
Way
We're
to
all
go.
set.
Way to go, Nick.
Done messed up. Ninth wonder.
You're in timeout, asshole. All right. So overall, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was. I wasn't invested in the story because, like I said, it was getting old from watching SmackDown because this has been going on for 2 months now, and it's just like, yes, get to the point, just do the match, and they finally do it, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah. So obviously the boss retained.
So that's going to set up, I assume, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, which we'll get to, and her. But we'll find out, I guess, Friday, when I unfortunately am going to have to hate watch SmackDown to find out.
I'll be there with you, buddy.
You don't have
All
to.
right.
I'll be watching. I can give you guys the 2-cent review if you want.
Yes, you got it. It's all you next week. All right. So we are finally here to the first Rumble match. It was the Women's Royal Rumble match. I love this match.
I think it was the better Royal Rumble.
It by far was better than the men's. The men's was a dud, and when we get to that, I'm going to Bruce Pritchard all over that thing because you felt his fingertips in the whole thing. But it started out really strong. Bailey was the first entrant, and then they had Naomi, and then they had the Bianca Belair. She came out number 3. Naomi goes 2. It had everything that you wanted. Billie Kay came out and her whole shtick that she did, where she sat on the side and let other people come in.
I love Billie Kay's shtick, even though she's better
Jilly
with
and
the
Billy.
Iconics. I love Billie Kay as the comical whatever. I love it.
I do too. Billie Kay, I loved her in the Iconics. I love the Iconics period, but her by herself is one of the funniest damn people that's on the show, and I feel like they are wasting her talent, but they're not. It's weird, because the little clips I do watch of her, she cracks my shit up, and then it's like, okay, then when is she gonna have a match? Like when she did the thing with the Riot Squad, I thought that was hilarious.
Well, that's still going on, and that's actually a pretty good angle, I think. And I'll talk about that when we get further into the match here. But I think that it's good for her because it gives her something to do that fits her strong suit. She's not the greatest in-ring performer. She's a decent wrestler. Mm-hmm. She's not the best amongst the women's division, but she is one of the better ones in the character that she has. So it fits her well.
She's good on the mic.
I think they're going to keep going with that. Like I said, I'll get into that more when we get to talking about Liv and Ruby.
So this match, and Nick, I'm going to ask you here. One of the things I noticed, right off the bat, compared to other Royal Rumbles for the women, was usually there was maybe 3 or 4 women
5
in
max
the ring at once. 5 max. And this one, I swear, we had 8 to 9 people in there, 10 people
Easy.
in there. Actually, I think it was
Consistently.
10.
It was 11 or 12 before there was an elimination.
Yeah, because the number 5 entrant was Shotzi Blackheart, which shout out to Journey Pro because she used to wrestle there, Journey Pro Wrestling in Kansas City. And she was the first elimination, and that didn't happen until number 8. So it went right after Jillian made it. So Ninth Wonder, I want to hear your 2 cents on how the first half of the Women's Rumble went.
I thought it was fantastic. As always, all my favorites get kicked out early, though. I like to think that that's because I have good taste, because if Vince snubs you, then you know that you're the best. The one thing that kind of saved it for me, though, is I'm watching, Mandy Rose get knocked out, Toni Storm's getting knocked out, so on and so forth. And I'm like, man, I'm running out of my favorites here. And I needed something to kind of pick me up because they were losing me. And the timing was perfect, and it couldn't have been done better. R-Truth shows up out of nowhere, and I don't know what he was doing. It's like he was lost. He was on his way to the other side of the arena. I'm not really sure, but he shows up, and he's in the middle of the ring in the Women's Royal Rumble. And Alicia Fox comes in, and she's exactly the person that I wanted to be involved in the Women's Royal Rumble. There's a lot of big stars out there. Alicia Fox is the one I wanted to see. And she went out there, she took the 24/7 belt off of R-Truth. And to be honest with you, fellas, that is the entire reason that I tuned into the Royal Rumble 2021 was to see
Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox take the 24/7 belt off of R-Truth.
Well, all right.
I mean, that's pretty strong. I don't know how we might as well just end it right there. Because, wow, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can spend all of your time developing characters and storylines, but why waste all that time and effort and craftsmanship when you can simply throw a couple of F-lister wrestlers out there to snag a quick belt away from each other? It's all you need.
Yeah. The F-listers or the ones who have been absolutely buried by Vince.
Oh my God, so buried. So buried.
I'm
So
surprised
buried
we
you
didn't see
did-
Ricochet out there.
So buried, you didn't even notice that Tucker was part of them, did you?
Now look, Jake, I
You're
will
the
say
one who
this.
pointed him out.
I had to
I
because
will.
and I think Nick missed it when we were watching it live because we talked about Otis later. We'll talk about Otis later on, and I made mention of what happened, and I was like, "Oh, you saw Tucker earlier? he was in that gaggle of F-listers chasing after our truth."
See, I'm telling you what, right now, the trial separation will be a full-fledged divorce if Ricochet is anywhere near that 24/7 belt. I will cry. It will break me.
Well, so let's not get too far
first-
ahead. We're still in the women's match though. So
Yeah. So before that happened, Ruby Riott came out.
Hi,
and
Ruby.
then Victoria entered right after her, and then Peyton Royce made her way in. And before them, Jillian Hall came in. And if everybody remembers Jillian, she had that whole what was it?
American Idol
Britney
shtick.
Spears shtick. Yeah, the Britney Spears shtick. Like she thought she could sing, and oh man, she could never wrestle if I remember correctly. And then she proved me correct in the Rumble. But then Billy got with her, and then that was Jillian Billy. Nick, you said that, and that
Good.
became a thing. They teamed up in there, and then Ruby Riott came in, and then Peyton Royce came in, and Peyton came in actually looking amazing. Like she is so damn polished in the ring. It's not even funny.
She's
But
come
then,
leaps and bounds since NXT.
Yeah, and then just 2 spots later, Liv Morgan comes in. So right now, at this point, we have the Riot Squad, and then Billy Kay, who wants to be part of the Riot Squad. We have Iconics reunion potential in there, and I honestly think hilarity kind of ensued. JJ, what did you think of that whole dynamic?
Well, but they did that so wonderful. This is part of what I've been really admiring about Billy Kay as a singles wrestler now, because you remember, and you guys knew this or not, but they're on separate brands. Billy's on SmackDown and Peyton's on Raw. So that's part of the reason why Billy's always searching out. She has the headshots with a resume on the back, and she's got like little inroads in with it's one of the small bits of long-term storytelling that WWE is doing correctly. So she's getting these little incremental, little small bits in with the Riot Squad, who putting this out there. And I said hey to Ruby before because I like Ruby, and I think that she is massively underutilized. I don't know if it's because the tattoos. Vince sees the tattoos and just like, I don't know. She was when she was an indie wrestler. She was fantastic. I thought she was, she kind of was in NXT at a time when there was a ton of like top women's talent. So it was unfair a little bit to her. I liked the way they called her up. I liked the Riot Squad as a whole. I think that Ruby deserves to be in the title picture, singles title picture, but once again, I don't know if Vince just hates tattooed women or what, but I don't know. I love Ruby. But they've been doing real good since they reconnected the Riot Squad, and this little intertwining with Billy. And it's as I said, so one of the few long-term storytelling that's working in WWE, and you can see it in this match because you look at that, and her and Peyton team up, and they do their kick, this and the kick, and it was on Liv Morgan, if I'm not mistaken. And as they were
Santana.
Oh, it was on Santana Garrett.
Garrett.
Santana Garrett,
Yes.
yeah. Who, but okay, so that's who, I can't remember who it was. But then it was something or another, and then in the middle of it, before they did like the finish of their little like sequence of moves with her and Peyton. Ruby grabs her by the arm, kind of gives her a quarter turn, and just gives her a, "What the hell? What are you doing? I thought you were," and you can see on Billy this confusion of my best friend from when I was young who turned on me, or the girl who I'm trying to be best friends with. Where do I? It's very masterful.
It was a great moment.
It was very good, and it was quick, so it didn't go overwhelmed, and that's what I mean by they're doing without giving it a ton of time, because they're not going to get massive amounts of airwave. Even if the Riot Squad challenge for the women's title at WrestleMania, like they should. Sorry, I get adamant. I think that they're doing that storyline right, and I'm happy for that.
I'm hoping you're right, because I mean, they've got so many other ones that they are totally butchering. But anyway, so right after Liv Morgan comes out, the Riot Squad immediately with Billie Kay actually eliminate Jillian, and then they try to take out Billie Kay. Then Rhea Ripley shows up at number 14. So keep that name in mind. She was considered a shock or whatever, but I think everybody and their mother knew Rhea Ripley's going to be in it because she was in it last year. Then Toni Storm, who was in there actually at this point, which I forgot to mention, she's out. She threw her out immediately, and those two have got some serious history. I cannot believe how they just made Rhea Ripley look so strong and Storm look so weak right then and there when they've had so much history with each other.
Yeah, but their stories have ceased quite some time ago, though.
Yeah, but you should always like if there's history, there's history. There
wasn't really a nod to it.
I'm with you. Well, I think that the moral of the story from Sunday is that none of the NXT women had a shot in hell of winning anything. I say none of the NXT women because I do not include Rhea in that. It's blatantly obvious, especially with the whole Raquel Gonzalez feud that's been going on, the way they ended it with the last woman standing match, that Rhea's destined to move up to quote-unquote main roster. So none of the NXT women they were the filler more than anything else, to be honest with you, all the NXT women. So I didn't take as much stock as you did on that, but hey, to each his own.
Yeah. So Rhea Ripley comes in and starts freaking cleaning house. Like, she gets in there, eliminates Storm, Baszler eliminates Victoria. Like, it's just a ripple effect, if you will, of just people going out. Ripley, she eliminated Santana Garrett, and then right after that, because JJ, I want you to talk about this too, is when you have the house cleaner, you have something come right after that.
Yeah, the progression of Royal Rumble is throughout history, even as WWE, so there's always going to be somewhat predictable if you've been watching WWE for long enough. If you hadn't, take notes, because what they'll do is they'll bring in a house cleaner. They'll bring in a big hulking monster of a person, whatever, who's just going to come in. Everybody's tired. The ring's starting to get a little crowded, and they're going to come in there, and they're just going to clean house. They're going to throw people left and right over the, Hulk smash and all that shit. And then almost, yes, exactly. Kane, Strowman's been that in the past. Undertaker's, yes. So Big Show, oh God, I think that's all Big Show ever was. But they always have the hulking monster, to come in there and clean house. And then almost immediately thereafter is the... Are you pouring coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't think the mic was...
hoping you weren't taking a piss on our show.
I legitimately thought you were taking a piss.
It's a late night for me, boys.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey, coffee's fine. As long, just don't, if you do take a piss, if you do
the
take a
ninth
piss,
one
leave
is
your
taking a
headset.
piss.
It's the ninth piss.
The ninth piss.
After you have that house cleaner, almost immediately you have the equalizer come out. So you have another hulking monster, or maybe you have the monster that was in the ring getting beat up by 8 people. Now that house has been cleaned, they can go at each other. Or else it ends up being like the first half of the men's rumble last year, where like Brock Lesnar just throws every single person out of the ring in 30 seconds. And then, to build that drama, you got to have, effect and counter effect.
Yeah, so in number 15, Charlotte comes out, big equalizer. So when Charlotte comes out, Bayley at this point just eliminates Ruby Riott with arguably one of the nastiest power bombs I have seen on the floor in a while. Yeah, like it hurt me. Like I was just like, damn. And then Dana Brooke comes in, Peyton Royce eliminated, Liv Morgan, and then number 17 was Tori Wilson. Tori Wilson is to wrestling as the Royals in the 90s were to baseball. Like, just terrible.
She's
terrible.
She's no worse than Kelly Kelly is in the ring.
Oh, come on, man. Do you not remember her in WCW?
I do. I also remember Kelly and Kelly, how utterly awful it was. Like, first of all, her introduction was as a stripper in the rebooted crap ECW. And then somewhere out of nowhere, because I stopped watching that after, I think, 3 weeks. Somewhere out of nowhere, she started wrestling. And I'm like, when did that happen? Oh, that's bad. Oh, my God. Like, they're on the same level. And you did not have the same reaction when Kelly Kelly came back a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Diva era wrestling, and I mean, Diva era, we had 2 good wrestlers, and everybody else was meh.
That's true.
I mean, so Tori Wilson comes out 17. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Dana Brooke got a nasty power bomb on the apron and rolled out by Rhea Ripley. And then, of course, again, Ric Flair comes out, woo, with Lacey Evans.
God.
And I know, right then and there, Nick was back in it full on, because that was the moment. Like, he's like, it's my boy. So Lacey was wearing Charlotte's robe.
Rick's robe. It was Rick's robe.
Oh, it was a Charlotte style robe.
It was Rick's. It was one of Rick's robes, though.
Okay.
That's what she's been doing the last 2 weeks. FYI.
Yeah. Well, as soon as she came in, Charlotte just beat the shit out of her with some seriously stiff shots. Like, I don't care who you are, those are stiff. Whew. So at this point, Royce was eliminated by Charlotte, during the kerfuffle. Baszler took out Tori, thank God. And then Belair eliminated Bayley, which I thought was a really great moment. And I think that's going to pay dividends if WWE does not mess it up, which they are bound to do because Vince McMahon is still in charge.
The only thing they messed up with that is that it was off camera and you had to go back and watch it in a replay.
Agreed.
True. I will say this before you move forward, though. SmackDown has been run by Triple H for the last month or two, so I have more faith in SmackDown than I do in.
Then there's hope.
Yeah, they're both on SmackDown. And for those of you who don't know, Bianca and Bayley they've been in a feud for a couple of weeks now, but I have a little bit more hope in that.
Yeah, I hope. I really do, because I mean, they got a lot to talk about, especially after we get to the ending of this thing. But like, if they don't mess this thing up, like it will shock me. Honestly, I mean, that's how I feel about WWE right now. Like, they will do something way too long, or they won't build on it enough, or they'll just be like, "Oh, that never happened," like that whole crap. So, all right, so Belair eliminated Bayley. Mickey James came in. That was a nice little, good to see Mickey James again.
It was great to
luckily
see
she
Mickey.
She wasn't wearing her bell bottoms from back in the day. She actually looked pretty legit. She did great. I mean, she's still Mickey James. Still love her. Then Nikki Cross comes out, which talk about totally messing up a character. Nikki Cross, Insane Nikki is the best Nikki. And then that's when Alicia Fox came out, and Nick explained that so eloquently about how, she came out and then pinned R-Truth to become the 24/7 champ.
And
then she
made
got
Right in the middle of the
Nick's
Rumble. There's
Right in the
no
middle.
better place to do it than right in the middle of the Women's Rumble.
She kept.
Yeah.
She still was fighting people in the Rumble with a belt on her shoulder, which was great. I will give you that.
yes.
Not for
Then-
long, but at least for a little.
Yeah,
bit.
it wasn't
Great.
very long because Mandy Rose was the next person came in, threw her right out, and then when she got thrown out, freaking R-Truth rolled her up and got his belt back, and then they started the running, which included Tucker. Thank you, JJ on that one, and there we go. So that's where we are so far in the Rumble. So we've got a lot that's already happened. We're well over halfway there. So at 24, Carmella came out. Right before her at 23 was Dakota Kai, which I love Dakota Kai. I think she's great. But again, to your point, she's NXT, so she has zero chance in hell. of
Squash.
winning. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's freaking
it's hard to
terrible,
watch.
man.
Real hard
It
to
was.
watch.
Carmella comes out. Ripley eliminated Dakota Kai relatively quickly. Mella threw Cross out. Just as Tamina came to the ring. Tamina dropped, or Reginald caught Carmella when Nikki Cross threw her out, and Tamina absolutely just took Reginald's freaking face off. That was a pretty super kick.
It was solid, man.
Like, I'm just gonna go there. I like Tamina. I liked her back in the day because she could actually wrestle. I love the fact that they played on her Samoan heritage in the beginning, and then they just forgot about her. Like, I don't know if she kept getting hurt or whatever, because man, when she's in the ring, she's pretty damn good, and she is a big beast too. Like, she looks like she could whoop my ass, no matter what. Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
is just I love me some Tamina, and her super kick is by far the best in the women's division.
I have no idea what they're doing with her.
frightening.
Like, why do they never use her? I mean, if Vince loves the Inouye family so much and the Fatu family,
I don't think he knows what to do with her. Does he make her a monster? Does he make her face? Does he make her a Samoan warrior? Does he make her whatever the hell she actually is being presented as, with this weird leather codpiece, which, I'm sorry, is the worst. The worst costume of any woman currently on any roster, and I'm including.
I'm gonna be honest with
all of
you.
them.
This has gotten by me, but now I know that it's the only thing I will ever see again when Tamina comes in.
I can't not see it. It's ridiculous. It's like, why is she wearing that?
it looks like she's wearing a catcher's chest protector with the codpiece hanging down.
Yes.
She did
I've
not.
always just been so terrified of her facial expressions and those eyes. Like I'm curled up in the corner whenever she appears. So
Well, she fits the bill to make a good, big bad, a good, because she has a great face and she's got good expression.
she is terrifying.
She is not bad on the mic, and they don't let her talk. They don't let her wrestle or anything other than squash matches. She got one push in the last 2 years. One push, and it was barely a push, 2 weeks and a crap pay-per-view.
Yeah.
3-minute match. It was I have no idea what they're doing with her or what they plan on doing with her. But
This
she's
is
still
what
there.
happens when you talk about WWE. You get upset and you get heartburn and you go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's welcome to our new life, Nick.
So, all right. So back on track. Tamina just absolutely takes off Reginald's face. Carmella gets eliminated. At this point, and number 25 is Lana, and she looked as ravishing as usual. But as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh great, she's got to go through a table, because
That's all
clearly
she does.
that's
now.
all she does right now since Miro went over to AEW. Which, shout out Miro, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. You keep doing your thing over there. But yeah, they're just burying her. But she actually didn't go through her table this time. I'm actually a little surprised by that.
Well, but they buried her with a push, which is the weirdest thing. So it's like she got a push, but the push was her getting obliterated on a weekly basis.
I can tell you exactly what that's about, JJ.
Oh,
The fans rejected that push because it was so silly that Vince took it personally, and he was like, "Fine, I'm gonna bury you now."
fine, fuck you. I'm just gonna kill this one.
I guarantee you that's what happened.
Or he was like, I'm just going to bury her. And then the fans start feeling sorry for her. And then he's like, well, maybe I can turn this into a special thing, you know, and like make her look big. And I'm going to bury the motherfucker again.
Well, she was one of the ones that people were high on backstage, and you'll hear that quite a bit, that they're high on them backstage. It's almost like the kiss of death lately for specifically female wrestlers, but men as well. We'll talk about some of them, because some of them are the people who you're already thinking of from the men's match, Jamie. Yes. So she was one of the ones that, like Peyton Royce. Oh, they're high on her backstage. Vince is high on her. She got a 2-week push, and that was it. And then Lana, they're high on her. No, it's not because of Miro. They're high on her. Well, she just gets pushed through a table for 2 months straight. So the next one, it's almost like I said, it's kiss of death. So people are like, try not to really disturb what they're doing too much, but there's rumors about the next one. Lacey Evans, of course, is now the people that they're high on backstage, and rumor has it that they're taking a real close look at Liv Morgan. They think after Mania, she might be the one they're high on. I don't know. It's Vince's. I don't mean to be misogynistic about this in any sort of way, but Vince is very much he looks at the women on his roster as shiny cars inside of his garage.
It's a great way to put it.
He'll take out the Mercedes, drive it to New York City and back for like 2 weeks, then say, I'm tired of this one. Fuck it. Give me the Porsche. And they'll do the Porsche for 2 weeks. And it's like, screw that one. Give me the Ferrari. You know, that's the way I feel that these pushes are.
It's a perfect analogy. That's exactly how he does it.
And to build on that, speaking of the Ferrari, so at number 26, the Ferrari came out and he wrapped it around a goddamn pole instantly in Alexa Bliss. Sorry, 27. Number 27.
It doesn't matter.
Man, you're going to get me upset now.
Oh, no,
Alexa Bliss comes out.
We're going to get into it right now.
So
I've
bad.
been watching Raw, but I've been paying attention to this whole Fiend thing because I do enjoy the Fiend. I thought they did a good job with him on SmackDown, and that's when I started losing faith because everything else sucked other than that at that point. And then when they got her in there, I'm like, oh, this is great. And like, she's going to be Sister Abigail. And like, it's been drawn out way too much. But she comes out and she's looking like normal Alexa and not, this new Fiend Alexa, piece, either one of them. And she's in there for what? A minute?
If that.
It was short. It was brief. I think she did a few moves on a few different people and then began to transition. And then, boom, Rhea threw her out. So I think it was 2.5 minutes tops, maybe.
It was pathetic. Like, they absolutely 100% wasted her. Like, if she came out, like, if they just said like, it went, Meh, and the lights went out and she showed up in the middle, I'm like, oh, it's on. And, like, that would have got me. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted some form of Fiend there because we didn't know if Bray Wyatt was going to be there yet. But they didn't even do that. Like, they started to have the lights go out and then Rhea threw her out. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, you wasted all this storytelling that you've been putting on your programming for months. Just wasted it.
Since October.
Yeah. It's your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Personally, it's my number one. And you wasted it. Like, you wasted one of your top talents.
There's so many better ways to do that. Like, if you don't want her to figure into it because you have other plans, you're doing a whole Fiend and Sister Abigail thing planned, you want to get the long run payoff for WrestleMania, fine. Have her come in and immediately transform into the Dark Alexa, or come out as Dark Alexa, or whatever. Have her, like, basically throw herself out. Maybe she's going after Nikki Cross or going after somebody. I don't even remember who was in the ring at this time, but maybe somebody did something to her and she just snapped and lost it and dragged herself out over the top rope with them and is just going to town, going apeshit. it keeps the continuity for her, and it doesn't really make everybody, including us three, go, "What the fuck was that about?" You know?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, they done messed up. You done messed up, AA Ron. So right after her, Ember Moon comes out. So that was a nice little surprise. But since she's now NXT, we knew that she was going to get destroyed rather quickly.
Gosh.
And then right after her, at number 29, the Botch Master herself, Nia Jax, comes out, and she eliminates Evans and Moon like instantly. At this point, they're fighting around. Naomi is taken out by Jax and Baszler. So Baszler and Jax are working together, doing their whole thing. And then Natalya comes out at number 30. And so, just to paraphrase, because I know we've ran long on this whole thing. Natalya comes out. She's acting like, she's all hard, whatever. She gets eliminated because they've wasted her forever. They only keep her around because she's a Hart family. That's the only reason. Which is sad. And then at this point, Natalya threw out Lana before she got thrown out, and then Charlotte, Belair, and Ripley are the remaining three because they're all working together to get rid of Nia Jax, and they get rid of Nia Jax, and it's just Belair, Ripley, and Charlotte at the very end, and then Ripley and Belair work together. They get rid of Charlotte. And then it's finally down to Belair and Ripley. And this is where I got excited, guys. Like, these two deserve to be the last two. Rhea Ripley, she carried NXT for a while there. I mean, even though I feel like Io Shirai is still the best performer in the women's division, period, amongst all of them. But, like, her persona and everybody buying into her was big. And Belair is the most gifted freaking athlete I have ever seen in the women's division. Like, she carried Otis like it was nothing. Okay, like
she's the real life embodiment of the Mr. Perfect commercials from 1993 or whatever it was. She is that.
To himself?
Yes, she is that in real life. Simple, easy.
So those two are going. They have a little kerfuffle on the ropes, and both of them are almost hanging off the ropes, which I'm going to get into that in just a sec. But so they're there, then they back up, and they're fighting in the ring, and then finally, there's a big back and forth. It looked really great, and Bianca Belair won the Women's Royal Rumble. So I'm ecstatic about that win. But it didn't really happen, now did it, guys?
Well, before you get your tinfoil hat on, I do want to just say a clean win too. A clean win I was not expecting for the life of me. I thought for sure, because we were all trying to guess when Alexa went out, they have to have another plan for her, right? There definitely is another plan. She's going to come back. Like somebody said earlier on, like before the show started, that they're going to do like the old Mick Foley thing. She's going to come in as Alexa, come in as Sister Abigail, do that whole deal. And then when she got eliminated, they got rid of her early because she got to get changed, do her makeup, do her hair. So she's going to come back in, and she's going to mess with Rhea because Rhea threw her off, and that's going to cause whoever's left to win. It wasn't. It was clean, and I am impressed with that because those two, I could watch those two do a match every week on the same program I could watch them do what they do to every other superstar in the Raw and SmackDown in essence and enjoy it because they are fantastic, and I thought it was great.
I'm going to be honest with you, like, for being fake sports, I got goosebumps when Bianca Belair won. It seems kind of silly, but we've watched her since the Mae West Classic, and she's been great 100% of the time. So to see her win the Rumble, and you could even though you could the emotions are so real. If you can imagine coming from the indie circuit, then you get on to the Mae West, and then you make your way through NXT and so on and so forth
Mae Young
to win the Rumble. Yeah, or Mae Young. I apologize.
It's the Catwoman
Why'd you
classic,
correct
guys.
him? Why'd you
It's the
correct
Catwoman
him?
classic.
God.
I have a Turner Classic Movies podcast I'm going to do right after this, and we're going to be discussing Mae West.
That's fine. Don't worry.
No, we followed her from the very beginning. So to see her realize that dream, it's kind of like a buddy of yours, you know, getting the gold. It was good. I got goosebumps. I didn't tear up, but I got goosebumps, and it was awesome. Give me the warm fuzzies, and it was awesome. I loved it.
All right,
So, Nick, can I
conspiracy
ask you a
theory,
question?
go. Oh, no,
Hold on,
sorry. You're not there yet. Okay.
I ask him a quick question.
Sure.
In order to be eliminated from the Royal Rumble, what has to happen?
Oh, Jamie, it's so simple. You just have to go over the top rope, and both feet have to hit the ground.
And if both feet hit the ground, you are, in fact, eliminated. Is that correct?
You are eliminated AF.
So, by that fact alone, Bianca Belair should have been eliminated.
100%. 100%.
If you go to our Twitter page, you will see it there. We have a picture, beautiful picture that is, of both of her feet touching the floor during the on the rope kerfuffle.
See, and this is where I'm not going to blame Bianca. I'm going to blame Creative, because her legs are too damn long to be pulling that hanging off the top rope stuff. It's just too risky. You can't do it. You got to come up with something else, because having her hanging off the ropes, her feet are going to touch. It's nothing you can do about it. She was like Vince Vaughn in what's the Santa Claus movie with Vince Vaughn in it? Fred Claus, where he's sleeping in the elf bed and his legs are just dangling over the end. That's Bianca Belair hanging off the top rope.
Now,
They should have found something else to do.
I'm not gonna go as far as you guys here on this. I want to see some Zapruder level filming on this. Let's get deep into this. Like, how many, like, was there air there? You're gonna turn to like NFL referees here on the replay. Like, can I see green between the
JJ,
cleat?
all we're trying to say is that she lost and she's not the true champion.
Okay, all right. We'll just go with that there. By the way, Jamie didn't say it, but you definitely please follow us on Twitter. That's at Live Spotfest. At Live Spotfest, all one word.
Yes, and okay, so this is my real thing. So if they say Belair's a champion, they can do something with this, with her and Rhea saying she touched, but then she didn't really touch. Did she? Well, then they're gonna have to have a match at Fastlane in order to figure it out, or Elimination Chamber, whatever the next one is.
It's a good filler. I'll give you that. It's a good filler.
So if they're smart, they do something with it.
Yeah, if they have any sense whatsoever, they should run with it.
Instead of just brushing it under the rug like they did when Ronda Rousey did not get pinned by Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
What do you mean?
So
if they, like, the internet trolls were all over this instantly, self-included. That we were all over this damn thing. Like,
for the record, Jamie admitted to being an internet troll. I just want everybody to hear that. Jamie did admit to it finally. So,
Dude, it's funny. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, how about that?
yeah. Hey, we know our own kind. That's all there is to it.
That's right.
So Belair is right now the champion, and she can challenge anybody she wants. And we'll talk about if she appeared on Raw or not, or if she's going to appear on SmackDown. I'm assuming she's going to be on SmackDown, but when we get into the Raw recap, we'll go over that. So overall, guys, I enjoyed the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought it was cheeky when it needed to be cheeky. I thought it was gritty. I thought it had all the good stuff, some good spots in there, other than the fact that they totally just missed the mark on Alexa Bliss, and this still pisses me off. But, I give this Women's Royal Rumble the best marks out of any match on the card, even if they're coming.
I think everything was. The comedy bits were good and short. The 24/7 championship is what it is. It's as much as I dislike it, I like it in the same breath. It's like R-Truth is it's terrible. It's corny. You know what's going to happen, but it is kind of fun at the same breath. Billy was great. She was hilarious. The people that were in there, most everybody got good spots other than Alexa. Ruby and Liv had some good spots, and Peyton Royce had some really good spots. And, the NXT girls, not so much, but, as I said, as we've covered ad nauseum, they were more or less filler. The throwbacks were fine. I didn't care about, none of them really like, oh God, why they're bringing her back. It was good. Overall, it was good. I thought it was well done. It was probably the best women's Royal Rumble there's been, I would say, in total.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think they let the women go. A lot more instead of having it very controlled of 3 to 4 women at a time. I thought they let them get at it. I think they got after it. They showed a lot of good stuff, and by far, to me, it was better than the men's. And we're gonna get to that here in just a sec. But yeah. So before the men's Royal Rumble, guys, we had kind of a filler match, but it was a championship match. It was Jeff Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Even though it feels just like that match. Is a last man standing match. So this match starts off, heel Roman, which is by far the best Roman, and then face Kevin, which is by far the worst Kevin. Going at it. Starts out, Roman hits a Superman punch. Then KO hits a spear, or KO hits a pop-up power bomb. Then there's a spear. It's just Spotfest. Hashtag that's our name. And then they get outside. They go all over the arena. And then there happens to be this spot where they go, there's a random ladder hanging out, and there's a whole bunch of open area, and all you see is Kevin Owens just walking around. The next thing you know, whammo! He gets hit by a golf cart.
Fantastically.
He sure did.
He got knocked pretty hard, but I feel like I saw that somewhere before on a better wrestling show.
Are you talking about the time when Sammy Guevara got hit by a golf cart that one Matt Hardy may have been driving?
Maybe was that it? Was that it? Yes, that was definitely it.
Now, I'm going to come out and do something I never thought I would do in my life and defend a Roman Reigns match. But
oh God,
yes,
go for it.
I'm going to. Yes, the Sammy Guevara hit has been viewed over 1 million times on Twitter alone. It's by far the original. This is a blatant direct copy of that. That being said, you cannot say there's things across all promotions, and I'm talking about all of you, all 4 of you major ones, plus Impact, plus New Japan, not so much, but because it's Japanese wrestling is a little different, but all American promotions, there's been stuff copied left and right across the board. So don't just take that one bit and say, this match was shit because they did a Sammy Guevara thing. It was funny, and it was actually different because I don't know if it was a total botch or if it was meant to be, but the way they did it, I'm pretty sure that Kevin Owens was not supposed to go all the way through the dead center of that windshield, and he sure as shit did. And it was.
There's no way he couldn't have, man. He's a big boy. He's going through
He's
that
a big
windshield.
bitch. And Sammy Guevara kind of pirouetted, got off of the corner of that.
He got his face cracked.
Which is
on
why it was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's great a different way. And I think you're underselling just a little bit on this too, because
maybe just a little.
I mean, okay,
I'm jaded.
Kevin Owens' face is not the best Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens should be a heel all the time, every time, bar none. But he still has the same skill level when he's wrestling a big match, and he has still brought it on this match. And them going into the back area there, because Tropicana Field, It's no longer arena where they have the Thunderdome at. They only take up like a quarter of the baseball field. So they have all this extra space, and they have set up like, storage and all these things. I personally loved the part where they were going through this like back storage area where they had a spare ring set up and everything. And there's this wall of the WWE, breakable ladders, just of every size. It's like you're at Home Depot, There's just like 150 of them in different sizes, just stacked together. It was great. And the orange ladder that's in the middle of the open area with no good godly reason for being there open and just waiting. It's just sitting there. Or the piece of the broadcast table that just happened to be the only thing on a forklift that had its keys in it, It was... it was great because it's almost comical, but the spots they were doing, good God, the spots they were doing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the spots were great. It was a good match. Obviously, I'm being a little tongue in cheek. I mean, they do owe Matt Hardy some money for taking that from him, but overall, it was a good match. So let's just get right to the ending. Okay, so it was a long match. Frog splash off of the top of a forklift onto a couple tables that were covered in spray paint stuff. That looked really good. And then the big dog, and him were fighting over by the lights in Thunderdome, and the big dog gets himself handcuffs. He got a set of handcuffs, and he was gonna handcuff our good friend Kevin Owens, but of course Kevin turned the tides and was able to handcuff Roman Reigns to the bottom of the light tower. And the ref was counting, and he got to 9, and he freaking just grabs the ref, which I love this bit. I thought
this is my favorite part.
This was great.
Yeah, just grabbed him by his shirt and just yanked him right into the lights and
just one-handed him
because
sorry.
Easily the best part of the match.
Yeah, sorry, because he was handcuffed in a way that he couldn't fully stand up. He was handcuffed like through the light tower on the bottom rung. He couldn't physically stand up. It's not possible. And so he just manhandled, ragdolled this ref.
It was great.
Great.
The only thing that would have made that bit better is if like Jey Uso came running out like Chris Rock from Friday and be like, you just got knocked the fuck out.
Oh my god, Jamie, that would have been so good.
I would have died.
So
I think right then and there WWE might have got me back as a fan. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So it was a great match. Roman Reigns ended up winning. Because he was able to lock in a guillotine on Kevin Owens after Paul Heyman came out and unlocked him from his handcuffs. So overall, pretty damn good match.
Right, the ending, the very ending, it was a little bit long, and it's one that I will say this because last year Royal Rumble they did basically the exact same match with him and Corbin to open Royal Rumble, and it was not good. It was just like, oh, really? Can we just get past? Can we just be done with this match? Can we just go past it? This was a lot better. It still was a bit long, and the ending was kind of crap. After you had all those big spots, and then he just manhandles this ref. It takes Paul a solid 3 minutes to figure out how to undo handcuffs.
Yes,
it really did. What I liked about this match though is to me, it wasn't great. It was definitely too long. But what I liked about it is it's kind of like when you are trying to get your kid to pick up some good habits, be it making their bed, cleaning their room, helping with the dishes, whatever the case may be, and they try it out and they do a horrible job. There's nothing that they did that really contributed positively, but you can see that they really wanted to make a good effort and try, and so it kind of warms your heart a little bit. And that's the way I feel about the new Roman Reigns. You're not doing it great, but I can tell that you're trying, and man, I appreciate it.
That's a good way to put it.
I have no comment because I have no children.
Fair. So us with chitlins, yeah, I can
Good
relate.
match. Good match. Ending was shit.
Yeah, I mean
It
that's
was.
typical WWE fashion, isn't it?
More often than not.
Yeah. So okay, so let's get to the final match of the night, and we won't spend near as much time on this one as we did the women's because realistically, you just need to care about entrant 1 and entrant 2. So the first entrant and the second entrant were announced by WWE on WWE Backstage, and that was going to be one Mr. Edge and one Randall Keith Orton. So those two are 1 and 2. They go in there. They don't even make it to the ring because, Edge and Orton have this ginormous feud from back in the day and all this stuff. And, Edge is beating the shit out of Orton early on. And then he gets him on top of the announce table, then does an execution onto the announce table. And then all of a sudden, Orton tweaks his knee. It has to be taken to the back. And that's the last time we see Orton. Or is it?
Dum dum dum.
Yeah. So then after that, Sami Zayn comes out as number 3. Mustafa Ali comes out. Like a whole bunch of these guys come out. There's no real big surprises.
There's probably only one surprise I would say in the whole thing, and it wasn't really a huge surprise if you think about it.
Yeah, Carlito was it?
No, it was not even Carlito. I was like Christian.
Oh, Christian. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you that. So the big surprises for Carlito and Christian, and I gotta say something. Carlito was jacked.
He was jacked.
Jesus, like he got stung by a bee because he was swole. Like I have never seen him that big. Like they showed a vignette of his old stuff, him then and now. I'm like, Jesus, man. Like he looked like Rambo. Not from number 1, like he's all puffy. He looked like Rambo from part 2. He's more shredded Julian
He's all
salad.
shredded
Man.
up like a Julian salad, man.
Got any tips? He looked great. One of the highlights of the Rumble for me, guys, and I want to hear your thoughts, was Xavier Woods, Big E, and Kofi Kingston all wearing tights that had John Huber or Brody Lee's face on it. I thought that was a nice.
That was
touch.
awesome.
100%.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fantastic.
Even though we knew all 3 of them were going to get eliminated at some point because they
Kofi wasn't actually
45.
Kofi wasn't actually in the Royal Rumble, by the way.
No, yeah, he wasn't.
He
That's
still was.
right.
He wasn't medically cleared because his jaw's no longer wired shut, but he's still not medically cleared.
Yeah. So
It was
that
good
happened.
to see. It was good to see Big E and Xavier back to, doing some stuff together. Because as much as I think Big E's overcome his forceful separation from the New Day, which we'll talk about when we get to SmackDown in the future. I thought it was nice to see him and Woods reunite and do a little New Day magic.
Yeah. No, it was great. John Morrison came out. Then The Miz came out. And Ninth Wonder Nick, do you want to talk about what The Miz did?
Not really.
Fair. He came. Well,
To be
okay.
honest with you, the men's Royal Rumble was unremarkable. That's the best way I could put it. It was unremarkable up until the end, which we'll get to. That's
So-
my 2 cents. Otherwise, I'm going to get upset, and you guys don't want that.
So The Miz comes out with his Money in the Bank briefcase that he didn't deserve. That whole thing was just dumb. And he beats up Bad Bunny because we also forgot to mention Bad Bunny.
If you don't know who that is, do not worry. I still don't know any
it's so
song he
bad.
sings.
The only reason I
So
know who Bad
bad.
Bunny is from the freaking Corona commercials with Snoop Dogg. It's like it's
I
Bad
didn't know
Bunny.
that was Bad Bunny until you told me when he was live on the TV. I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy. I didn't know that was Bad
It's like,
Bunny.
It's not Playa, it's Playa. It's
I
like,
will
oh, God.
never buy Corona again.
Yeah, well, my dad drinks Corona, so
You better stay
that's
from
all.
you better stay away from Cheetos too, because he's in a Cheetos commercial I saw tonight too.
No.
Good God. So, let's just do this. Well, let's talk about some good showings and some duds. So, good showings. I thought Damian Priest had a really great showing. I thought he
Very
looked
good.
really strong.
Great showing.
Very good.
Yeah.
That kid's gonna be a star.
Well, hold your horses.
He better be.
He should be
He'll
a
be a
star.
star somewhere.
Until Vince gets his hands on him, puts him in like a fuchsia unitard, and changes his name for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, he's either gonna become Damian or Priest.
Oh yeah,
Not
he
Damian
can't be
Priest.
both. No, and his music's
it's-
gonna definitely change. It's gonna be some unrecognizable reggaeton or something. I don't even know.
Oh Jesus! Don't do that to me.
Yeah, it will be. It's inevitable.
So I thought he did really well. Matt Riddle looked like he was just stoned out of his mind, but I know that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
stick.
He was.
And it's probably reality too. So, Daniel Bryan, who was a heavy betting favorite, actually, ladies and gentlemen.
It was my pick.
Daniel Bryan was the number 2 pick when you were looking at Vegas odds. Number 1 was Edge late, which we'll get into, but he was there, and so the match was a little bit over an hour, and a whole bunch of just dudes just coming in left and right. A few of the guys from Retribution were in there, or just one. Sorry, just Mustafa Ali, which he finally got his first name back, by the way. Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Business.
You mean Mustafa?
Mustafa
Ali.
Ali.
Nope. They're pronouncing it Mustafa now.
Well, I could give a shit how they're pronouncing it, Mustafa.
I just want to reiterate how insensitive it is that one of those is wrong, and WWE is spending equal time using that wrong pronunciation. I want to put that out there, just to say that's a
fair
thing
point.
that's fucking happening.
It's a fair point.
So JJ, let's talk about the 24th man who came in, and that was the shocker that you brought up, and Christian. Man, it's been a minute since we've seen Christian in a WWE ring.
He was in there last fall, early fall, I think it was, back when Randy Orton was doing his tear through WWE Legends. He came out to defend Edge's honor. I guess it was last summer because it was after WrestleMania. Came out to defend Christian after he had kicked Edge's head in, and he kicks Christian's head in, and the whole time you're like, why are you even here, Christian? This is so dumb. But it was good. It was good to see him though in the Rumble at least, because that's the time when you have people like Edge, Christian, people come back, they make a little pop. Hey, I'm still alive. I can still do things, and now I'm thrown over the top rope. That's fine. I liked the moment. I don't have, and I was going to throw this out here preemptively. I don't have the major nostalgia on Edge that seemingly everybody else has.
I'm with you there. I never had it. Dude, the whole Brood thing, off the bat. Anybody involved in the Brood, I was done with after that point.
Nobody seems to remember the Brood when you're talking about Edge. That just
I do.
It's like Hitler Germany. It just doesn't exist. It was erased from history. We don't talk about the Brood.
It's great.
Yeah, there's two things in the WWE you never talk about. There's Brood and Benoit. Those are the two things.
You know what?
Exactly.
You know what WWE needs? Anne Rice novels. Yeah, that's what we need, Vince.
Anne Rice novels read by Bully Ray, because that'd be fantastic. But no, everybody forgets about the Brood. It was probably the best three tag team rivalry of all time. There's some other ones on other shows that are going to surpass it, I think. But Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys versus the Dudleys you had to watch it no matter what show it was on. Pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown, main event, did not matter. It was fantastic. He got to be a singles competitor. He was okay, in my opinion. And he was a good heel. I never saw him as a face, and I don't know why people have this affinity for him as a face. I remember him as the guy that just schemed his way to screw over CM Punk, screw over John Cena, which he eventually, we could never beat John Cena. I mean, it's hard to see the man, so how are you to beat him? But has bangs Lita in the middle of the ring, which scars her, causes her to go on a downward spiral and then get humiliated out of WWE. And then his neck breaks a million times. I don't know. I like Edge as a person. He's fantastic in Vikings. If nobody's seen that, watch Vikings. He's great. He comes in around season 5. I don't know. I don't have the affinity. I do like Christian, though. And I think that it was nice, though, having that moment of the two of them, because I do remember that them as a tag team was special. And their out of the ring stuff has kind of, in my opinion, lasted longer than either their in the ring work, and they're gonna keep doing their podcast. They're gonna keep doing shows together. They're gonna keep they're best friends for life. So that was a nice moment. So I liked seeing Christian. I liked seeing them reconnect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I never was a big Edge guy. I mean, he was a part of the spear cult that came, like the spear bonanza, whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, but like everybody and their mother was starting to do a spear at the time because Goldberg made it big, and to your point, people are stealing stuff left and right. Like, well, if this big guy can do it, we can make this little guy do it with his hair, and he can make his hair fly all over the place, and we'll make him a vampire too. Sorry, yeah, my Bruce Pritchard right there. Sorry, but anyway, like, so yeah, I'm right there with you. So let's
Christian was a good pop. Oh, sorry. Yeah. You asked for ups and downs. So Christian was a good pop. Other than that, everything was just kind of, it was okay. It wasn't like terrible. I mean, you had bad things like Otis, who is definitely suffering, in my opinion, from not being part of a tag team anymore.
100%.
I mean, and now he's getting buried. Even his own shtick is done, But yet, Otis was there, and it was like, okay, that's dumb. Whatever. Move forward, and then you had a few others. You did have, though, Bad Bunny then come out to the ring like in a delayed fashion to counteract Miz's destroying of his DJ booth.
And then jumping off the top rope. Saying, it's Bad Bunny, and just jumping. So
almost wiping out too. Don't forget that.
Oh, dude, like it was almost on Botch Club. Shout out Botch Club, we love you. So let's just get down to the final four. So the final four were Strowman, Edge, and Christian, technically at the time, and Rollins, because Orton wasn't there. So, allow me to talk about the most Bruce Pritchard ending of a match, like, in recent history. And in order for me to really explain it, I feel like I'm going to have to talk like Bruce Pritchard, because he's a big piece of shit, and he's just... he's a leech. That's probably the best way to put it. And, we had this conversation off the air, but he's him and Vince Russo, top 2 of the most hated, in my opinion.
Jamie is not a Bruce Pritchard fan, and Jamie will do a Bruce Pritchard voice almost every week without being cued. Just be forewarned.
Yes. So this is my interpretation of how it was explained. So this is Bruce Pritchard, like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, guys. All right, now listen to this. We are going to have Braun Strowman come out as number 30, and everybody's automatically think, he's going to win. He's the biggest guy. Oh, no. Edge, who's been laying around on the ground for the past 45 minutes and really hasn't done anything? Yeah, he's going to win it, but not really. You think he's going to win it, but then you'll find out, oh, my God, Randy Orton is actually healthy, and he's going to come back and try to do an RKO on Edge and then push him out of the ring. But no, Edge is wise to it, guys. And then he pushes Randy over, and then Edge, the oldest motherfucker that we have on our roster, is gonna win it.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, that was perfect. And to your point, Edge looked unhealthy. He didn't just look old; he looked unhealthy.
He looked like he could use a candy
somebody
bar.
I expected to be, selling pixie sticks, in the middle of the highway. That's what Edge looked like.
Where the fuck do you drive?
Look, I live in the dot. These things go on out here.
Okay, all right. I was like pixie sticks in the middle of the highway. All right.
I live in suburbia, man. I don't see that. But anyway, like, it was the most Bruce Pritchard ending that was sold to Vince, and of course Vince loved it. Vince ate it up because he's like, Vince is like, I love Edge. Edge is amazing.
Everybody loves Edge. He's a future. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's okay. Shut up.
Yeah, everybody's gonna love this. Yeah, and Bruce Pritchard's like, whatever you say, boss. Would you like me to rub your balls too? Like, Bruce Pritchard, Jesus Christ. So that, everybody, was the Rumble. Edge wins. It was by far one of the worst ones because all these guys have been grinding and busting their ass, get passed up by a guy who just shows up once and wins it all. Like, that just pisses me the hell off. Like, no wonder CM Punk was so fucking jaded towards the end. Like, it didn't matter. Like,
You know what I don't like about it is just how obvious everything like that is. For Edge you got the Royal Rumble, and he wins the Rumble 11 years to the day of the last time he won it. And if you're paying attention to that sort of thing, you know exactly what's going to happen beforehand. And it's just so boring. It's stupid. What you should do is, if you were smart, you're going to set people up to expect, okay, well, today's the day that such and such happened 10 years ago. So we're going to make it look like that's going to happen, but then we're going to have somebody come out of left field and boom, they're going to win it. That's what you're supposed to do because it's exciting. It's interesting. If you're just going to make everything just some sort of landmark anniversary, who gives a shit? Move on.
Well, it's plain obvious. They're phoning it in on half of this shit, and you look at the difference in men's and women's rumbles. You could tell which one Bruce and Vince didn't get their hands in too much, because that ending was great. It was stellar. Your controversies aside, it was stellar. It was great. It was two women who weren't Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, or Bayley or Asuka. Okay, as much as
they're good technically too, that helps.
Yeah, I mean, but it was somebody new. It was a new point. WWE is at this stage where, and we've talked about this personally ad nauseum, and you guys will hear it a lot. Is that WWE has a stable? They have because Vince was so scared of Vince was so scared of AEW when AEW come on the books that he's like, well, I got a mint behind me. I'm just going to start printing money off and throwing it at these sons of bitches so they don't go to AEW. When's the last time anybody's seen Aleister Black? Who knows? Ricochet. We didn't even talk about Ricochet. Yeah, how buried he's gotten for
hurts my heart.
No reason. Yeah, Mustafa. That really pisses me off. I'm sorry. It's like, which one is it?
It is stupid.
I'm obviously pronouncing one of them incorrectly, and that's incredibly insensitive, and that pisses me off even more. Fuck you, Bruce Pritchard. I blame him for everything. But it's like you have all these guys, and maybe you don't do the same thing. You don't have two of them going, but you can have one of them in there. You can have something. You can give. There was a time. If you're listening and you weren't really into wrestling back in the middle to late '90s. WWE mirrors their time back then, very candidly. That was at the beginning of the Monday Night Wars. Monday Night Wars started around 95-ish, 94, something like that. And 96 was probably the worst year of WWF at the time, WWE. They almost went bankrupt. They almost went under. And their programming was terrible. I can't tell you how terrible it was because I stopped watching it. It was bad. I was all in on
converted to
WCW. I was 100% WCW. And
Yeah, same.
they made a turn. They had these guys. They had, Rocky Johnson's son. Then they had this like wide-bodied white guy with a big chin from Connecticut, and they had these two maniacs out of North Carolina, and they had, they had the one stable who was the Iron Horse, that was this mythical kind of, dead person walking around, and they had such this good young talent that they built up themselves and allowed them to grow into their roles. That's the only reason WWE is around. That's the only reason they are where they are. Triple H, Rock, Stone Cold, Hardy Boys, taking the Dudleys away from NXT helped. Edge is part of that. But at some point, you've got to look at what you have and move it up. And for the men's division on the main roster, they're just not going to do it.
No.
It's a damn shame. Damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, JJ.
The only thing that I see, and maybe we're wrong, and God, I hope we're wrong.
Please.
But I think the only thing that would force this change is Vince stepping away and letting Triple H do, because NXT has been great. I mean, right now it's a little saturated with talent, which is not a bad thing, but since I can remember, NXT's been awesome, and Triple H has been running that thing, and like he's been pushing the talent, giving you guys opportunities. Like, Andrade was never heard of him. He got a big push. Like, and of course you got some of the older, the independent scene superstars getting big pushes. But I mean, like, some of these guys and women are getting huge pushes down there, and then they just absolutely die when they come to the main roster. And that's just a damn shame, because Vince is just Vince. And I think the times need to change for them in order for them to adequately survive, later. But Vince is making too much money to really care, I think, to be honest.
Well, it's more than... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, no, you're definitely right. But the thing that stands out to me is if you were to just do simple math as to the time that's put into a given activity, be it some mic work or be it a match, you will find out that NXT's how they proportion everything is just perfect. You get some mic work from the ones that can work the mic, and then you get a good solid technical match. The show itself is only 2 hours long, so when you package it that way, you're going to get a good, satisfying product. When you come out there and you have a ridiculous amount of time, which to me is the 3 hours that Monday Night Raw gets, and you spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on mic work, and mic work is great when you've got MJF or Chris Jericho out there. It is not great when you've got a one-dimensional character out there talking for 15 minutes on end about nothing. And then you don't even get a match after that. You get like a little skirmish, and then it's off to the locker rooms and on to the next thing. It's just stupid boring.
And that's going to lead us into talking about Raw here in just a minute. But before I get that, I just want to kind of put a bow on this for right now, because I don't want to point the finger only at Vince, because is Vince creatively a problem for WWE? Yes. Is it because of all the reasons we have just stated? 100%. Does he need to step away? You better bet your ass he does. Will he do it? Not until he dies. Which I hope not, for the betterment of everything. I mean, they just made $1 billion last week by signing that whole Peacock deal. You could take some time off, Vince. Take some time off, for God's sake.
Yeah, buy a new yacht.
He's a workaholic. He's going to work himself into a grave. I've known hundreds of people like that. But it's not just Vince. The problem is who's in power? Is Vince, Bruce, Kevin, what's his face? I don't remember his name. But those are the three main people that are in power. And Triple H is trying to make the inroads because Triple H, like you said, he really made NXT its thing. Him and the people he put around him, and it's like him, and he's got the trainers he brought in there. Look how involved Shawn Michaels is with it, and it's just like it's proven that this is what the fans want, but Vince doesn't see it because Vince is in part a megalomaniac, and in part just a greedy old white guy. So, who has had success doing a very specific formula for a wrestling show.
It's a good way to put it.
If it wasn't for that success, sure, he'd be open to change. Shit, Ted Turner said that he would do things differently after he lost the Monday Night War. Absolutely he would. Vince has never lost, unfortunately. Even with his Raw being as low ratings as it is, he signs $1 billion deal with the Saudis. He signs a $900 million deal in India. He signs $1 billion deal with NBC Universal. They make merch left and right now, and he's never lost, and so he doesn't feel the need to change, even though it's blatantly obvious he does. And to dethrone him, because of the amount of money that's behind him and the power players that are the enablers that are around him that are just as bad, Bruce Pritchett and others, you're not going to really see that change. And that's the most unfortunate part. But I do have faith that eventually it will. It's just going to take something drastic, I think, for that to happen. And I don't want to think about what that drastic thing would be.
Fair. I mean, we've never said that he's not a businessman. Because he's a businessman first, and he is, like, unworldly, like, how good he is. Mm-hmm. I will give him the props there, but he needs to let the creative control go and just collect the checks. Like, that's what he needs to be now.
It's like, be a grandpa. Come on, man.
Right? You got some youngins probably already working on wrestling.
Yeah, they're like teens, like they're low teens. There's that perfect time to be a grandpa. You could take them to like soccer games and shit. Just like fuck, come on. So well, that does really us right into talking about Raw, and I'm actually going to do the half-ass recap on Raw here. Please. So I'm not going to trust me. Raw and SmackDown, when we get to them, is not going to warrant as in-depth look as we have done for the Rumble, because the Rumble still deserved it. Overall, I would say good pay-per-view. Couple shining good examples, few meh, and a very bad ending with Edge.
Yes,
that's good. Good summation.
Yeah. Overall, meh.
Overall, meh. I on my notes that I have here, I think I wrote meh about 6 times, which should give you guys and girls out there a look inside to the mindset of WWE Creative right now. So where does WWE take this? One of their 4 cornerstone pay-per-views. What many, like myself as well as Jamie and Nick, believe that this is like the best, is always the best one of the year, right? Because the Rumble's such a great, where that Raw after the Rumble's an iconic Raw too. It's one of the 2 Raws where anything can happen. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's the start of WrestleMania season. Where do they start with that? Well, they start with they start with the WWE champion coming out, who squashed the piss out of Goldberg. Which, okay, that makes sense. Cool, fine, do your thing. And he's talking whatever game about Goldberg and mutual respect, because they had mutual respect after the thing. Blah blah blah. All this stuff, and then here comes Edge's music out, and I'm told it was Edge. It resembled my 95-year-old grandfather who has lost all hearing and can barely walk. That's what I thought was coming down the ring. Now, okay, he was in an hour-long match. I get it. He's going to be banged up. He looked and sounded, I could just feel through the TV. This is a frail old man is what it felt. And this is the guy who's your main... This guy is headlining WrestleMania in 2 months. And this is what you're putting in front of me on national TV? Really?
Yeah, it was... Yeah, nope, right there with you.
Even if you didn't watch it, don't bother looking it up. It was bad. even his actual talking to McIntyre, it wasn't oh, I'm fired up, or it's like, hey, what's going on, or hey, we need to talk here. It was like, hey, so yeah, you don't know why you gonna. It's like, dude, did you take an Ambien before you came out here, or what? And then Sheamus came out to give some, I guess, some livelihood to the ring, because it felt like a nursing home, and it's just like, well, you don't know what I'm going to do. And then he kind of, falls out of the ring and, crawls back up the ramp, and led to Sheamus finally turning on McIntyre. So we know what's going to happen in Hell in the Cell. There you go. That's been building for God knows how long. And
don't spoil it, because I don't know.
Well, no, they're going to fight. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, never mind.
But we know Sheamus is not going to win, because
no,
Sheamus has already had the belt once, and I think Vince is still pissed off at him that he was an ECW champ, and he hates the term ECW.
And I'm sorry, I want to take just a second here. This show is not meant to be a fashion critique, but the fact that Sheamus wrestles as like the Celtic Warrior Sheamus with the whole like follow, the Iron Cross and shit, but he comes out when he's not wrestling as Gangs of New York Sheamus, and it just looks ridiculous. I'm sorry, I had to throw that out there. So that happened. No big surprise. Everybody saw Sheamus turning on him since the time that they reconnected. It was bullshit. It was never going to happen. So that was how you start your one of your two biggest shows of the year, right? Okay, that's the start. Killer job. Way to go, guys. Well, how do we fill it up? Well, let's actually put a wrestling match in a wrestling show. Okay, good idea. 20 minutes in, we'll have Riddle versus Lashley again. And are we going to make this like the match that it could be, which we haven't done so far? Nah, it'll be like 4 minutes, and Lashley's just gonna obliterate the piss out of Riddle, because he's just signed a new contract, so he's not in danger of going anywhere, because he could be the future of wrestling. So let's just squash the everling piss out of him. And he does. He does the whole berserker thing. He does it 8 times, and now Riddle doesn't remember how he got down into the ring. Good job. That's where you go from that. And what do you do with a match you've already done for the past 2 months? Well, how about a match you've only done for the past month? We're going to have Xavier Woods come out and battle Mustafa Ali. Technically a good match, an actual good wrestling match, marred by the fact that you got to see Retribution, which Jamie loves to see.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I can get Casey Jones, Mankind, on my screen, and don't forget Bane. As long as I can get all 3 of those guys on my screen at one time, I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited, because when I think of wrestlers, I really think of like T-Bar, and a guy named Reckoning, or sorry,
that'd be a girl named Reckoning.
Yeah, COVID Mia.
COVID Mia.
You know what they remind me of? They remind me of
get better soon,
really
Mia.
shitty
Sorry.
band Mushroom Head.
Oh shit! Now you're going way back.
When I see them, they remind me of horrible music.
If you guys don't know what Mushroom Head is, go Google them, and you will understand how terrible we're referring to.
It's worth
bad.
a Google.
It's worth a Google. It's not worth a lot of time, though. I'm going to tell you that.
No.
Either way, Woods actually beats him again, so that was good. And Kofi was out at the ring beside, there. They've mismanaged Reckoning, something fierce. When it first came on, it was like, oh, this could be something cool, because it's obviously Dominik Dijakovic, who's the leader, like during the summer when they were doing it, right? You were there at the Performance Center, and they didn't have the stupid masks on. And then when they finally revealed themselves to the world, it was like, okay, that looks ridiculous. And then it just got even dumber after that. And then they feuded with the Hurt Business and got buried, and now they're feuding with the New Day, because Kofi took Mustafa's space at last year's or 2 years ago WrestleMania. I don't know. It's dumb. It's over. It's good to see Woods, though. And it's good to see Kofi with Woods. And it was a decent match, so I'll give him that. So where do you go when you actually have a somewhat decent wrestling match? Well, you got to bring out the Miz to slow down that energy a little bit. So let's bring out the Miz. The Miz is still. I will put pen to paper. Miz is probably one of the best mic workers in WWE. He's good.
Hands down.
He's good.
Hands down.
Morrison is underrated as an athlete, but they just whatever. We've already bitched about them enough. More of the same. And who was their guest? Their guest was Bad Bunny.
He's Bad Bunny.
Because they promotion contracts with I don't know. I have no fucking idea. He talked briefly before this. He was seen backstage with Damian Priest, which we now know what show Damian Priest is going to be on, and kudos to Damian Priest. We'll get to that in just a moment, because he was basically sitting there talking in Spanish, wearing a Puerto Rican flag, as to prove that he speaks Spanish to Vince and his country club buddies, with Bad Bunny. And there's a quick little segment about how Bad Bunny always dreamed about being a WWE superstar. So I'm like, no, stop right there. And then he comes out, he does a stupid interview. It's terrible. It's bad. And then Damian Priest comes out, in essence, to save it for us, the viewer, because it's so bad. That leads into a match between him and Miz. Decent enough match. Priest looks awesome. Bad Bunny beats Morrison over the head with a pink microphone. Yes, that happened. And there you go. That's Bad Bunny in the WWE now. And he has a shirt for sale at WWEshop.com.
Yeah. So, on the match, though, I do want to call this out once again, talking Retribution. So, Damian Priest's finishing move is called The Reckoning, and Mia Yim's character in Retribution is Reckoning. Like, come on, man. Like, why can't you just call her Mia Yim? Because she was awesome as Mia Yim, but you had to F that up. Like, come on. Like,
all of them.
Pritchard, just go away. Like,
all of them. I mean, Dijakovic, Dio Madden, Shane Thorne. What the hell is wrong with the names you already have the trademarks for? Just let them have them again.
When they're a part of Retribution, they don't have names. You get it?
Except for Mustafa Ali, who's now Mustafa Ali. Once again, I'm confused about how to pronounce this. That pisses me off. I don't even know. We kept moving forward. So after that, we decided to have the Hurt Business come out for their tag team championship match against Lucha House Party, because we're apparently doing Wheel of number one contenders for the tag team titles. Okay. Lucha House Party, who, if you didn't know, are actually going to be on this Wednesday's Dynamite as part of the NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Cup, because nothing makes sense in the world of WWE, but they're challenging for the Raw titles. So they didn't win, of course. There's not a chance in hell they were going to win. And it ended with the same old, is there friction between Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander? Cedric Alexander, of all the younger stars in there, there's a ton of them. Cedric Alexander's one who I feel for right now, because we've seen this a dozen times, that somebody gets a push, but it's a fake push, because this guy could go to where his wife is over in AEW and be a legitimate title contending star.
Mm-hmm. He's got it. That's for certain.
Oh, in spades. But anyway, so they did their thing, and they kind of argued, and they made up, and then whatever. So that was that. So I'll tell you what, you like tag team matches, we're going to keep it rolling. What's the next tag team match? Well, of course it's going to be a women's tag team number one contender match, because I swear to God, if they don't give Riot Squad the belts, or at least a title shot at minimum, but the belts in a title shot at Mania, I might just break something. I'm already getting heated here. I feel like I'm the ninth one.
Prepare to break something.
So three-way women's tag team, because Pritchard doesn't like doing things that are conventional, so we're gonna do a three-way. Lana and Naomi, because that's a natural tag team, versus the former champions Charlotte and Asuka. Put put a needle in those two for a second. Versus Mandy and Dana, a.k.a. Vince's dream-looking couple.
Yeah, flex appeal, right? Is that what they're calling themselves? Flex appeal?
I don't know. They're both blonde women who are like buff, for lack of a better term. They got muscles on muscles, which hey, I'm all for that. But it's just Mandy was in a perfectly good tag team. Dana should be a singles wrestler and competing for championships.
Agreed.
That's my spiel. So the match goes through. More of the same stuff. I don't even remember if Ric Flair came out with Lacey. She probably did. No, she did. That's right. Okay, I'm so in love with this booking that I'm already losing my mind. Okay, so Charlotte and Asuka, obviously they're building them up for a title run against each other because Asuka was basically throwing Charlotte under the bus before the match, blaming her for them losing the tag team titles at the Rumble, which, I mean, it's not entirely inaccurate, but whatever. And then during the match, three-way match, Charlotte was in the ring, sees Ric Flair come out, music comes, and as Lacey's coming out of the thing, she tags herself out of the match and goes down to go fight with Lacey, and they fight and they go in the backstage. And of course, Asuka's confused because now I have no tag team partner. What do I do? Well, it ended up costing her. Your number one contenders are, of course, Lana and Naomi.
It made 0 sense. Like, WWE has no clue how to do tag teams. I am just certain and convinced that they have lost touch with how to do tag teams. If you want to watch good tag team wrestling, you know where to go. AEW. Like, the women's tag team there is good. Hell, even Impact's got good women's tag teams. Like, come on, man. Like, they just don't know. I don't understand. Like, it's been a part of wrestling since before I was ever even, a mistake by my parents, let alone a wrestling fan.
It was it's a head scratcher. It's bewildering. It's like, what are you even doing? The one thing I will say is that I hope this is all filler for the Riot Squad because once again, now they're like the only actual female tag team in WWE now that the Iconics are no more. But that's beside the point. So there was that. You did have a good promo in the middle of all this somewhere. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a really good promo that showed you why Orton is still on the top of the card. He cut a fantastic promo about Edge and basically angry at Edge because Edge was not understanding that everything he did to him to shelve him was for his own good. The fact that he RKO'd his wife on national television was for his own good, so that he would be forced to be at home with his children more. Fantastic promo. One of the very few highlights of this show was that promo. Of course, that leads me into the next match, which was another tag match. It was Hardy and returning Carlito versus Elias and his roadie Riker. It sucked. It was terrible. Hardy and Carlito won. There you go. Which led us to the second to last match of the night: Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. So interesting because of the history between them two. It was one of the few good spots of the night. So Alexa Bliss came out and she was bubbly Alexa Bliss. There's three versions of Alexa Bliss. There's the goddess, the old school, the if you would quote unquote the regular, the normal Bliss. You have this bubbly psychopath Bliss, and then you have the Sister Abigail dark Bliss, right? So match went on well. It had good flow up and down. Bliss is fantastic in the ring work as well. Nikki Cross showcased a little bit of why she's very underused. And her music is terrible. I'm just gonna say it. I can't. You said it earlier. I'm gonna piggyback on it. It's just a shame. But I digress. They went through the match. They did the thing where Bliss they did the cinematic cuts where she's like the old school Bliss, then she turns into the dark Bliss, and then she turns into the bubbly, and back and forth, ends up getting the victory. That's that. And as she's walking out, and this is what gives me hope for some bits about WWE and certain people, and Alexa and Bray, their spiel. I know it started to turn a little bit with Bray being gone. Alexa's always been a person that is better with somebody in her corner. Tag team partner, manager, whatever it may be. She always seems to be better when it's someone in her corner and not just her. But this is kind of signifies how strong she really is. So as she's walking out, I think I heard somebody talking about this earlier today too. Might have been, I think it was like Bully Ray or somebody was talking about singing the praises on Alexa Bliss, and I concur 100% because she's walking out as Orton is walking in for the main event. Which, if you didn't already guess, the main event, of course, was Edge versus Orton to end their feud. Right.
On a Monday night.
On a Monday night after Mania, or after Rumble, remember how I described Edge at the beginning of the show. Okay, so that's your main event. So, but as she's walking out, Orton's coming in. They're going past each other. He doesn't even move his eyes like the smart son of a bitch he is. I love it. And she turns and looks without losing stride, just kind of slows her stride down, just like her eyes and her face staring a hole through him, and it was fantastic. It was such good stuff. It's one of the other little long-term storytelling that they're actually doing right, is this whole Bliss Wyatt thing. So commercial break. That's a commercial break. Of course, Edge comes out, and then Randy Orton proceeds to, for the next 20 minutes, beat the living shit out of Edge. Like, if you thought he looked pathetic at the beginning of the show when he looked like, my 95-year-old leukemia-stricken grandfather in the ring, he looked even worse. That now, this is the guy who won the Royal Rumble. This is your top guy, basically. This is the guy he's guaranteed to headline WrestleMania. He more than likely will be this is your guy, and Orton is just obliterating him. He's murdering him on national television. It's to the point where I'm just like, just pin him and get it over with. This is like, it's like putting a dog out of its misery at this point. So, Alexa Bliss then mysteriously appears out of nowhere on the ring apron, and what's supposed to be black blood comes out of her mouth. It was chocolate sauce, but it looked fantastic. And this, of course, disoriented Randy Orton just enough that Edge hit a single spear and got the win. End of show.
Yep. Duh.
What?
It was the end of the show.
Why? Sorry, I had to yell that.
No, it's perfect.
Well, and I'm pissed off, one, because they did that, and then two, I had to sit through 3 hours hate watching this show because I knew I had to do this podcast with you guys and wanted to be able to say something halfway decent about Raw. Like, oh, they did this. Like, the one highlight of Raw, the entire highlight was Randy Orton's promo. Other than that, I was just underwhelmed. I think the whole back and forth thing with Alexa's getting a little annoying. Like, just have her do once and just call it a day instead of like going through like the faces of Foley basically every time she's in a match. And then this whole, frail old man getting in a ring with a freaking, predator just doesn't make any kind of sense. And then all of a sudden Alexa shows up, then bam, the old dude wins. It's like, come on, man. Like, Mr. Miyagi would get his ass kicked if he went in the ring with Frank Dukes. Like, it was just going to happen, Like, Mr. Miyagi's old. This is the thing. But, that's basically what they're saying. Mr. Miyagi won. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Ninth Wonder, do you have any thoughts about? Did you watch Raw?
No, I did not.
Good for you.
You are so spared. For those of you at home, I said I am more of a sadist, so I do kind of hate watch it. I do other things while I'm watching it though, usually, but not last night. I dedicated myself, and God, do I regret that.
Wednesday night's my night, boys. That's my night. I watch AEW, then I
Absolutely.
watch NXT right after.
So good.
That's when the good wrestling's
forward to that
coming.
review.
So we will definitely. Our plan is, just so you're aware, this is a little bit of a different episode. It's more or less a WWE bitch fest. But we wanted to get out there, kind of get a feel for this, or let you guys get a feel for how we're going to kind of do things. So we're going to talk about every week AEW and NXT as the primary shows, and then we'll touch base briefly, even briefer than I did tonight, very briefly on SmackDown and Raw. If there is something good that happens, which it's possible, there's a couple of good things that happened this week in WWE. Well,
I don't believe you.
Well, Bianca Belair winning the Women's Royal Rumble.
Technically, she didn't.
Okay. We will still bring up. We're not gonna be one of those shows that we're not gonna pull a Vince McMahon oh nope, they don't exist. No, that's not a thing. What do you mean? There's no such thing as WWE. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not gonna be like that. But primarily we're gonna focus on AEW and NXT because those are the main shows that we as fans watch.
And I will say this: if on Friday Night SmackDown they don't address Bianca Belair's feet touching, I am going to have a field day on our next show. I'm going to take 20 minutes myself just rant and rave. Actually, I probably won't do that, but everybody will know.
You probably
will.
will.
Work it in. I will work it in.
That's okay. We're allowed to bitch. This is our show. That's what we want to do. Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. So let's wrap it up. I wanted to do our last segment of the night of the it factor. What was the match or the person or whatever that we saw on these shows that was that was the thing, the it factor. So let's go ahead and start with the ninth wonder of the world, Nick. What was your it factor?
This is horrible. There was no it factor for me. I'm not saying that to be mean. There was just nothing that really popped for me. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. There was nothing that made me jump out of my seat.
Oh, okay.
Nothing at all. Nothing you got mildly excited for?
No.
Okay.
All right. Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Nothing.
Nothing. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Nothing going Nick over here.
Yeah. All right, JJ, what was your it
my
factor?
it factor was, believe it or not, and once again, I cannot believe that I'm actually going to be saying this particular match, but the KO and Roman Reigns match from Rumble. And I say that because a Royal Rumble, you know what you're going to get, and either it's going to live up to those expectations or it's going to underperform like the men's did this year. It's never not going to be the Rumble. It is what it is. That match, though, KO versus Reigns, because they've been playing it for the past several weeks, that exact match, that's next serial, for the past couple pay-per-views as well. I figured this is going to be like last year's Reigns and Corbin match. It's going to suck. It's going to be so boring. And it was not. Once again, KO is still KO. Even if it's face KO, he can still put on a match. And Reigns, when apropos, he can level to meet it. And his head of the table character is light years better than the old flak jacket, loaded vest, loaded wrist guard bullshit Reigns. So the spots were great on it. The finishing left something to be desired. But overall, that match was like, okay, bravo. That surprised me. So that's my it factor for the week.
That was a pretty solid one. As much as I would love to disagree with you, it was a good match. So, my it factor, if you guys haven't already figured it out yet, the one thing that really grabbed me was Bianca Belair winning the Women's Royal Rumble, but not really winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm really curious to see if it gets swept under the rug or they actually address it head on and create a storyline out of it. But she deserves that win. I know it was a botch that her feet touched, whatever, and I'm just being a troll. Well, you're damn right I'm being a troll, and that's why it's my it factor, because damn it, like, that's not supposed to happen. They shouldn't even put that in there. Both those women are like 6'3", like they're just tall women. You just don't need to do that. Like, men can't even do that stuff. Like, come on. Obviously, that sounds really misogynistic, but you know what I'm saying. Like you just don't put them in that situation where it could possibly happen and then screw the win, the ending, which it kind of just did. So I'm wondering what they do with it. But that is my hit factor for the Royal Rumble.
That's very good. Yeah,
I can get with that.
I hope they don't pull a Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and just brush it under the curtain rug. So we'll see what happens. Do you have any prediction? What you think, Jamie or Nick? What do you think they'll do with that?
Oh, they're not going to do shit. Well, wait, Bruce Pritchard's not involved. They might do something.
Yeah, it's Triple H.
Bruce is on Raw.
Yeah, it's Triple H.
Bianca's going to lose the belt within a month's time.
Ooh. So she's going to win the belt at Mania is what you're saying.
She is going to win the belt, and then she's going to lose it.
That's
off of Sasha, or do you think Sasha will lose it before then?
I have no idea who she's going to lose it to. I'm just telling you, she's too good to be valued by the WWE. She's going to get the belt as a novelty quickly, and then they're going to take it away from her and give it to somebody who stinks.
Fun fact, Bianca Belair has never held a championship while employed by the WWE.
But her husband has.
Sure enough, he has, but not her. And she's only received, I think, two title shots previous. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens. We'll talk about it next week. We plan on, as I said, on doing these weekly. Depending on how it goes, we can definitely, we're thinking about mixing it up a little bit. Nick, what are you doing?
I was just making some noise, little decoration for the end
That's
of the
okay.
podcast.
I enjoy it. So thank you, everybody who's listened to it. If you stuck around to the end of this, thank you even more. Like I said, we're definitely going to do this same bat time, same bat channel every week. We're available if you have not seen, we're available on all your favorite podcast networks or through our website. If you did get to us that way, we do have that as well. Please feel free to reach out to us via Twitter at Live Spotfest. Let us know if you like the show, if you hate the show. If you think Nick is a first class piece of crap, or if he is the smoothest talking son of a bitch you've ever met in your life. I tend to favor the latter.
Let us know.
Also, let us know. Give us feedback. We will gladly take any feedback you can give us, or tweet us interesting theories. Let us know. Do you think that Bianca Belair is going to be confronted about her quote-unquote win at Survivor Series? I mean, we didn't see Rhea Ripley last night on Raw. So that's what we got. We will leave that with you. Jamie, it's been wonderful as always.
Thank you, sir. Been great.
Nick, we always love having your presence.
I love being present.
And I'll bid you adieu. We will see you guys next week.